up here.
Shout out to Harlem Smoke. Coach, what are your starters tonight?
Starters tonight, Russell, Brad, Bonga, Anthony, and Rollo, Robin.
You obviously know who's going to be on the other side tonight. I'm curious, this is the first time you've had the game plan for him. You had him as your point guard for many years. How do you go about trying to slow down a motivated John Wall?
Yeah, you just gotta get back in transition. The guy has speed that only a few in the league have. He's an aggressive player, strong left hand. His shot has improved. You gotta get back and show him bodies. You gotta clog the paint as much as you can. You can't foul him when he attacks the basket. But he's a good player. I mean, he's one of the best. Unfortunately, he was hurt most of the time I was with him, other than the first year. But one of the best players in the league, not just the best guards. It's great to see him back. I knew he was close last year, and then the pandemic hit, and that wiped that out. Then this summer, I knew he was going to come back and be strong, and it's good to see him back. I know he missed a few games early in the season with all the COVID stuff, and then missed about a week or so with some injuries. But it's good to see him back. That being said, we like to beat him, though.
Thanks, Guy.
Was that me, Darren?
Yeah.
Okay. Scott, obviously you've known Russ for such a long time. You know what his body can do, you know his tendencies, and how much he's grown also as he's learned how to kind of take better care of his body as he ages. I wonder how much that trust and your knowledge of him affects when he comes to you and says, coach, with this one, I actually think I need an extra week, or I'm ready to go back now. Like, does a trust in player like that make a difference compared to someone who you've never coached before coming to you and saying something about the injury?
Yeah, I mean, I know his toughness. I know his heart. I know his intentions. He's a winning basketball player. He hasn't played at the level he's going to play at. Like I said, he's had some unluck, unfortunately, being banged up in training camp, and then 2 or 3 times during the first month of the season. And then, the procedure he had, and he's still rusting his game, and it's gonna take him some time. I'm patient with him, and he knows that. I had a great conversation with him this morning. The only thing that I say he needs to do better is on missed shots. He needs to attack. He needs to attack the bucket and try to get into the paint for himself, and then kick out. He's deferring too much, which I understand that. That's what he's about. He's grown into that type of player. And he knows that how important it is to get other guys going and listen. But we need to be more aggressive on missed shots. And like Brad's fine, man. Brad is an amazing player. I mean, he's scoring at a high clip this year, and he scored at a high clip last year. He can score. He doesn't need help. But Russell understands that. But I think he's trying a little bit too much. And it's a fine balance. There's times where he probably goes too much over. But it's going to take him some time. He's, like I said, came back. He's been out for, all of us have been out for a while, but he's been out. And even when he came back, he was ramping up. It wasn't like he went through every bit of practice at the game speed. It's a slow process. And, when you have an injury like that, last thing you want to do is play heavy minutes and go from 1 to 10. And he wants to, trust me. But I like the progression he's going. He wants to play better. I want him to play better, but we need to play better as well. We know, even though we got guys out, still no excuses. We should have not played as bad in that second half that we did last game.
When you have those conversations that you're talking about, the one you mentioned this morning, though, are they different just because you've known him for so long and you know where he's coming from and kind of exactly how to communicate with him, I guess?
I mean, it's early on. There's no question. He was, how did I say this? I mean, a lot of guys criticize his point guard ability. And early on, it was a lot of teaching, a lot of going over reads, a lot of film, a lot of conversations. and he handled it very well. Look at what he's become. I'm not saying I get all the credit, but I'm a bit of it. And like I said back then, a lot of guys didn't think he was a point guard, thought he was a two, thought he was a backup and this and that. And I didn't care. I just said, you know what? I don't care what you guys think. He's my point guard and he's going to be one of the best in the league. And he's proved that. Now I don't have to worry about those conversations on the reads and the things like that. Only thing I tell them is just, what our guys are capable of doing, and they need your help in these situations. It's no different when you were a young player. We got some young players that need to be, taught some things, and my job is to do that, and his job as the leader, one of the leaders of the team, is to do that as well. So it's definitely a different conversation. It's a lot of respect, but I know what he's about. I mean, the guy he cares and he's prideful and he wants to play better, and he will. That's what I love about it. I know he will. This is, and he's one of those guys, and only a few guys can handle it in the league. And I've been around it for a long time. Is when things don't go his way, he finds a way to make it. He wills it, and that's that. He has that Mamba mentality that a lot of people talk about.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Chase?
Hey, Scott, is Neto available tonight?
Yes, good news. He's available. Minute restrictions, maybe 20s, low 20s. Russell's probably mid 20s, maybe 25, 27, maybe tops. So there's some juggling there, but we got 11 guys tonight, and they should all be ready to participate and be called on and do well.
And you mentioned that the players in protocol will likely come back in waves, maybe one or two at a time. How soon do you think that first wave could be?
Well, they had a couple of them had a couple of good days, and we were able to see some of the stuff on video, and it's great to see them. Trust me. They want to be on the court, and you can see some of their workouts. They're excited. I mean, as excited as you can be by having a one-on-one or one-on-zero with your coach. You can see the excitement, just joy in their body language. But there's going to be in waves. I don't know when. I really don't. I know it's not going to be tonight. I know it's not going to be tomorrow. Now, can it be Friday against the Hawks? I think it can be. Maybe a couple of guys, but still they have to. The conditioning is. I mean, they're behind. I mean, our other guys were behind without being tested positive. So it's going to be taking some time. But they've had a couple of workouts. We've had, I think, 4 guys. I think 4, maybe the 5th one, maybe later on today.
Neil?
Scott, just to elaborate a little bit more on that. So you told us, I think Sunday, that 2 guys had started to come back. Now you're saying that 4 guys are back to working out?
Yeah, so Sunday, a couple of guys, right? When was that? Did I say that Sunday?
Mm-hmm. Versus
Sunday, Monday. Yeah, a couple of guys had 3 workouts now. And then a couple of guys had 2 workouts. And then the 5th one, I haven't heard as of, I heard it might be later on this afternoon or early evening, but I haven't heard on that yet. That's all waiting on the cardiac test and the NBA and all the stuff that we have to go through. So that's good news. I mean, it's good. I don't know when, like I said, I don't know when they're going to come back and actually play, but it's definitely trending in the direction we need it to be trending at.
is there a known timeline for the players that have yet to been cleared to work out, or is that still
They're still going through the process, and that's all the NBA, the protocol. They have to go through all the checkpoints, and there's one for sure, maybe 2.
Fred?
Hey Scott, how did Gil end up sliding his way into the starting lineup?
Pretty easy. I just made a decision. Want to know why I made it?
I would love to know why you made it. That would be great.
Well, I think, not taking game not always taking game by game and reacting, but I just know that we're shorthanded. We don't have the normal firepower we would have. I knew that it was really just to see how we would do last game. And I thought our bench needed an extra scoring punch. And it gives our bench Jerome and Garrison. Now we have Hau. So I think our bench can, manage that scoreboard when we had some dull or low moments. And that was the main decision. And we need some minutes. We need some minutes out of Anthony. And I think sometimes when you come in with the starting group, there's really no pressure. Otherwise, just play hard and, make an open shot when it's there. And we have enough scoring. I mean, Russell can generate points. Obviously, Brad is elite. And I think Bonga gives us a defensive wing. And it's just trying to manage the roster that we have right now.
And Scott as well. John Wall did a long interview with NBC Sports Washington. I don't know if you saw any of his quotes from that. But John's a competitive guy, said some stuff like that, mentioned that this game was personal for him, and said that I believe it was they thought I was done in reference to the Wizards. I was just wondering if you saw any of those comments and what your reaction was to seeing them.
Yeah, I saw the comments. It's not true from our standpoint. I told you guys from day one last year that he was improving every day. He was tackling his rehab at a high level and very diligent. And then, even last year, I remember the practice in Toronto. It was amazing that he hasn't played 5-on-5 and all of a sudden he just took over the practice and he was getting closer. Now, I don't know if he would have played if we didn't have COVID hit the league or the world. I don't know if he would have ended up playing, but he was definitely trending in the right direction. And I saw him this summer, so I knew, that he would be back. The guy works hard. He's a young player, and he's battled through some injuries. I coached him for 4 years, but I really only coached him for one. His first year was only a healthy year, and so I didn't have him really the last 3 years. But what I do know about him is that he worked his butt off and he didn't give up. He had a contract that he could have just gave up. I mean, let's face it, his generational wealth, but he just kept fighting and kept fighting and kept fighting. That's admirable. And I wish him well. And, the NBA have been in a long time. A lot of great players have been traded, a lot. I mean, you can name them, down the line, Jabbar, Shaq, everybody. There's a lot of great players that have been traded, and he's gonna finish up his career at a high level, and I hope he does. He deserves it. The basketball gods haven't been good to him, and they weren't good to us for the years that we were together. But I think it's deserving that it turns around. He deserves it.
Anthony?
Hey, Coach. Hope all is well. I heard earlier you brought up Mamba mentality. I guess for today being the anniversary of the 1 year of passing for Kobe, is the atmosphere in the locker room different for your guys? I know Bradley and Russell were close with Kobe.
No, I mean, it's been a tough year. I mean, Kobe Bryant has been a mentor to a lot of players in this league, more than we probably even want to, or we even know about. I know I had a great relationship with him. It definitely was a sad day, and he's inspired millions. But the thing that I really think about often is Vanessa and her 3 little babies, her 3 girls, and that's been inspiring because how she's handled this. I don't know how many people could have handled it the way she's handled it, with the toughness, with the class, with the just being like very truthful and honest. I mean, I follow her and I see her, and it's inspirational. I mean, to lose your husband and your daughter and the other 7 people on that helicopter, it's tragedy. And it's like I said, I think she's inspiring billions, how she's handled it. And hopefully, you know, you don't want anybody to go through that, but I'm in awe of how she's handling it. Obviously not having Kobe around, and that's been tough because he's that Mamba mentality is like, there's so many ways that you can look at him, and so many things that you feel about him. And whether you are a fan of the Lakers, which I wasn't, but I was a fan of his. I just liked, and there's so many passion, the determination, the toughness, the playing with injuries and not making excuses. I just like how he attacked every day. It's like legendary how his workouts, like crazy hours, like, and shooting for hours and hours at the same spot. I mean, that's maniacal. I mean, how many times you see an NBA workout and the guys are all over the place? Sometimes you feel like it's like an ADD workout. Everybody's like so scrambled. That guy was so meticulous and determined and precise and laser focused. He would be in. I remember Russell and KD. I don't know which Team USA, and they were on the team together, and Kobe asked them, "Hey, come back and work out with me." So they worked out with them late night, and they was like for hours. And they both came back, and they couldn't believe like we would do like 10 spots of doing like 10 shots at a spot and moving on to the different spots. And they said he would go like 100 shots at a spot, and they're like, "Are you kidding me? His arm's going to fall off." But you know, that's that mentality that he had. That's what made him great and determined. But it's I mean, I can keep talking about this, but it's definitely, he's inspired, and his family is inspired. I mean, Vanessa and the girls have just been amazing, and seeing them handle it with the toughness that she displays is phenomenal. Proud of her.
All right, that's
Thanks, Coach.
it. Thank you, Coach. It was
All right,
everyone.
thanks.